Joining us now, one of the top quarterback prospects in this year's draft class. Chris Sims has him at number 4, ahead of guys like Justin Fields and Trey Lance. Here he is, Texas A&M quarterback Kellen Mond. Kellen, welcome in. How are you, pal?
I'm doing great, getting ready for the draft, and I appreciate you having me.
Well, and it's great to talk to you. I've heard so many good things about you from Chris Sims. I decided I got to talk to this guy myself because, sometimes Sims doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I have a feeling, though, in this case, he knows what he's doing. I got a trivia question for you, though, before we get started. Are you ready for it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are one of 3 SEC quarterbacks with more than 9,000 career passing yards and more than 1,500 rushing yards. Can you name the other 2?
I think it was Dak Prescott and Tim Tebow.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, you're 1 for 1. There won't be any other trivia questions, but that's good. You nailed it. Yeah, that's pretty good company in a division like the SEC, a conference, more specifically like the SEC. So congratulations on that accomplishment. Congratulations on all you've done. I'm also curious, you grew up in San Antonio. You're kind of caught in no man's land between the Texans and the Cowboys. Did you favor one or the other growing up or some other team?
I didn't really have teams growing up. Andre Johnson was my favorite player growing up for whatever reason. It was a receiver, but I never had teams growing up. So,
who was the first quarterback that you patterned yourself after?
I would probably say Deshaun Watson was really the main one, and so I was able to kind of watch him, kind of throughout high school. Whenever I was, about to kind of get in the high school ranks, and then. When I was kind of going through all my recruiting, Clemson was one of the places I went to, and just kind of being able to watch him and things like that, it was amazing.
What was the big factor for you to go to Texas A&M?
I think me just being able to play in the SEC was huge. Me being able to stay closer to home, and with me, my support system and my family is huge. So being able to give them the opportunity to travel to all the games and just really to play for an amazing fan base in an incredible stadium against the best competition. So, looking back at it 4 years later, I definitely could say I feel like I made the right decision.
And this is a very common theme for me, but this is the first time you and I have talked, so I'm going to try it out on you as well. You got to pick where you went to college. A week or so from now, you're going to get thrust into this blender that's going to tell you where you're going. What's your anxiety level with this reality that currently you don't know, we don't know, no one knows where you're going to be living and working a week from now?
I really don't have anxiety levels. Maybe draft night, but I put in the work and really for 19 years, since I started throwing the football. So. At this point, it's just the waiting game, and I'm going to be blessed, and whatever team drafts me is going to be blessed to have my presence, and I can't wait to just go into the facility, learn a new playbook, and just being able to have something new in a new city and interact with new people.
Russell Wilson once told the story that he put the names of all teams in a hat, pulled one out, and it was the Seattle Seahawks. And lo and behold, that's who drafted him. Have you done anything like that? Do you have any secret list of teams? And I don't expect you to share it, but you got to have some preference if you got to pick where you would go, which team it would be, right?
I don't have any preference, and, I actually have, no idea obviously where I'm going, but, I kind of like what Russell Wilson did. And, I may try that, and then if it ends up, working out, then that'll definitely be a story I tell once I get drafted.
I know the other thing guys do, they get on Madden and they create themselves as a player and they start throwing on all the different uniforms. Have you done that?
No, I have not yet.
No. Try it out. You got a week. You got some time to kill. Get on Madden and see how you look in those different uniforms because you will be wearing one of them soon. What will you be doing on draft night?
I'll be at my house, and obviously, I don't know what day I'm going to be picked, but, I'm going to have, pretty much my whole entire support system from family to friends and, former teammates who are at Texas A&M with me. So it's going to be a truly blessed feeling. And just, at that time, we're just playing the waiting game, and we're going to see what team drafts me.
I would imagine one of the hardest things to peg, Kellen, is which pick is the one where you start thinking it could be now. And then when that window opens, and then when that window gets to the point where, okay, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Do you have a sense of your high and your low, where you think you could be drafted the highest, and that point at which, if it doesn't happen, something will have gone seriously wrong?
You know, I somewhat do. I guess I can have an idea, but with kind of how the draft works, you really have no idea going into it. And teams are, even though teams may be high on you, they may be higher on another player who they didn't think was going to be available at that time. So like I said, I'm blessed to be able to be in this opportunity. And whatever team drafts me is going to be blessed.
Will you be a guy like Tom Brady was 21 years ago, who comes out of this process, if you go lower than you think you should, with a permanent chip on your shoulder, extra motivation to do even more to prove people wrong who passed on you?
I think no matter where I go, I'm always trying to prove people my worth, whether those are the people that believed in me or, didn't believe in me. I don't think that with me having an extra chip on my shoulder, if I go later or, if I go higher, then I shouldn't have a chip on my shoulder. I'm always going to be self-motivated. And, I think if it doesn't come within, then, it's not true motivation. Then, like I said, being able to play 4 years and be able to learn from, so many different experiences has definitely made me the player and, also the man that I am today.
Do you get more motivation from fear of failure or from reaction to criticism?
Fear of failure or reaction to criticism? I think in my earlier years, I would probably say a little bit of both. Especially my junior year, just my fear of failure. But I think as I continue to grow, and part of my growth from my junior to my senior year is just my growth comes from me just wanting to be better than myself the day before. And so I was able to find different ways within practice and games to continue to push myself intrinsically and inside, that a lot of people really haven't been able to tap into that type of mindset. So like I said, there's a lot of different things that I've been able to learn over the years. And like I said, if your motivation doesn't come within, then I don't think it's true motivation.
Who's given you the best advice, Kellen, as you get ready for this next level in your career? And what was the advice that they gave you?
I would probably say the one advice that kind of made me who I am today was my dad. Probably right out the womb, but whenever I was born, he constantly always said never let anybody outwork you. And so it sounds so basic and so cliche, but for me to be able to carry that with me pretty much every single day, 24/7, and just make that my type of way of life and my type of individual culture, that's something that has always stayed with me, and it's going to stay with me pretty much till the day that I die. Not just on the football field, but pretty much anything that I do in life, I'm never going to let anybody outwork me.
Before we got started, it was obvious to me that you're very comfortable with the Zoom setting, and it occurred to me you've probably been doing this a lot with NFL teams. How many of the teams did you talk to, and who did you talk to the most?
Well, I've talked to every NFL team, and that was mostly down at the Senior Bowl. I don't want to get into any specifics. I met with mostly the teams who I guess you would say need quarterbacks. But just me being able to kind of meet with them, for me has been an amazing feeling. And I tell a lot of people that I'd rather be meeting with NFL teams over football and my strengths, weaknesses, and just being able to talk ball instead of writing papers, still in college or working on a master's. So football is my bread and butter, and the game that I will forever love. And so just being able to go through this process has been amazing.
I don't know if you noticed yesterday, the Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni told reporters at a press conference that he played rock, paper, scissors with some of the prospects. Did you get to play rock, paper, scissors with Nick Sirianni?
No, I did not. I didn't see that though.
Well, yeah, let's do it now then. You want to go?
Hey, if you want to go.
Okay, you do three and then choose. Three, then choose.
Rock, paper, scissors.
There we go.
Shoot.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, damn it. I went with paper. You got me. All right.
1-0. I'm 1-0.
You're undefeated. You're undefeated. In your NFL career, you're undefeated. It'll be that way until whenever you get on the field. And that's another area where I'm always fascinated with a young quarterback coming into the league. Is it your preference to go somewhere and sit and learn and watch and see a veteran like Patrick Mahomes did with Alex Smith 4 years ago? Or do you want to get thrown right into it and start week one and get your education by fire?
I think that, whatever presents itself, that I'm going to be prepared. And, I say that because, in college, I was the one who was thrown into the fire. So I've been able to learn from those type of experiences and, being able to play for 4 years. So, obviously the NFL is different from college, but there's certain things that I can take from, what I've learned in college, being thrown into the fire to, playing in the NFL. And also, if I was able to sit behind, a starter or even a veteran, I think just my ability to go in and, wanting to learn and just being able to want to grasp as much information as I can and just really be able to learn so that when I'm presented with my opportunity, then, I'm at, my highest ceiling and I'm able to excel at an elite level. So, no matter what happens, I think I'm going to be at an elite level whenever I get on the field. And, that's my goal. And, that's the way that I'm always going to prepare.
Chris Sims and I were brainstorming some questions today that we would ask if we were interviewing candidates. And I want to ask you one of the ones I came up with. If you couldn't play football, if football was just gone, off the table, NFL folds, CFL, all the football leagues are gone, can't play football anywhere, what would you do?
Well, these are actually some of the questions that NFL teams ask. And, I tell them, and, my hobbies all involve football, whether, if I'm not playing football, like on the field or, in meetings, I'm like watching film or I'm watching highlights or I'm watching NFL games. So, I honestly don't do anything else other than, breathe football. And, that's been who I am. And, that's just the type of person that I am. And, I think that just comes from the love of the game, not just, being a quarterback and being a football player, but just being able to kind of take a step back and watch it from, I guess, a fan's point of view. If I'm able to watch, Tom Brady or Drew Brees or certain guys like that.
You got pretty aggressive coaching from Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. How did that help you develop into the quarterback that you've become?
Well, I think personally, we're able to gel, at an elite level just because, one, he's passionate about what he does and, he wants the best out of, one, himself, but players. But also I want the same, excellence out of my own self. And so, a lot of people say, how do you deal with Coach Fisher? And I tell a lot of people, by the time, I'm already, while he's yelling at me, getting in trouble, I've already cussed myself out. Already. If I throw an interception and he's waiting for me on the sideline, by the time, it's in the other person's hands, I'm already cussing my own self out. So, I have my own expectations of myself, and I look forward to taking those same expectations to the NFL.
How do you think the offense that you ran at Texas A&M will prepare you to deal with an NFL level offense?
I think it's almost second to none, and I think one, just the amount of stuff that Coach Fisher puts on my plate at the line of scrimmage, where I have the ability to change my calls in the pass and the run game, get in and out of runs from one run to another or from a pass to a run or vice versa. And, a lot of people, they look to the sideline, and, their coach gives them the play. But that wasn't like that with Coach Fisher. And, to be able to play in the offense for 3 years, I definitely think I'm prepared for the NFL. Obviously, there's going to be some nuances in the NFL and, certain things that I have to learn. But, I would definitely say I'm a lot ahead of the curve than, most people coming into this draft.
Is there a criticism of your game that really bugs you?
I would think, a lot of people still think, I'm inconsistent or I'm inaccurate. And, I think, like, if you really want to be technical, everyone is inaccurate or everyone is inconsistent. But, the goal of being a quarterback is to limit that inconsistency. So, I think just with myself and, a lot of people compare my Florida game to, my LSU game, which, I would definitely say was inconsistent. But a lot of people, they don't have that same exact standard for, other guys in this draft, like Justin Fields, where you compare Northwestern versus, his Clemson game. And, that's not me bashing anybody. I think it's just me, being able to tell the truth. And, the same way I'm able to tell the truth about, Justin Fields, I'm going to be self-critical and tell you that, me in Florida versus LSU was inconsistent. So, I think, in this draft, I'm definitely held to a slightly different standard. And just because of, the way that I started in college football, with me being inconsistent. But, I definitely think, I've been able to find, ways to be more consistent and be accurate and still, push the ball down the field.
So you think that inconsistency from early in your college career is still dragging you down a little bit now?
100%.
And that would seem to be one of those, and I say this all the time. If there's a concern that a team has about a guy, fine, don't take him. Let someone else take him. Maybe somebody in your division will take him and you'll get to deal with him twice per year. Do you kind of feel that way? If someone's going to shy away from you because of things from early in your college career, they're going to get what they deserve if they pass on you?
I think in some ways I could think like that, but I think whenever I get to the NFL, I'm not necessarily wanting to be quarterbacks who go ahead of me. I want to be everybody, and that's my mindset going into the NFL. And it doesn't matter if you were drafted ahead of me, before me, or if you're an NFL quarterback ranked ahead of me. My goal, no matter what, is to one, prepare myself, but also prepare my teammates to go out and win.
You mentioned that you were a fan of Andre Johnson when you were young. Who's the guy playing today that when you walk out onto the field and you see him there in uniform, in the flesh, not on TV, you're going to freak out?
I mean, I don't think I'm going to freak out, but I would probably say the two people, not anymore Drew Brees. That was definitely one person, but Tom Brady. And I think, a lot of people, I don't know necessarily how this statement will go by. I think Tom Brady is the best athlete of all time. And, a lot of people, would probably, say Michael Jordan or, multiple other different sports. But, I think there's one thing about being a quarterback and, also being a offensive player in the NFL. And for a quarterback, you have to get 10 other guys on the same page as you, whether if you're a track athlete or you're a basketball player, LeBron James can, he may be able to win a championship with him doing it all on his own to a certain extent. But, Tom Brady, just to show what he's be able to do on, two different teams and get, everybody on the same page and go out and win Super Bowls. It's truly amazing to see what he's been able to do. And so just me being, a lover of the quarterback position, but also, a fan and just watching him and being able to learn from him, that's definitely a person I would like to meet.
And Kellen, that's an excellent point, because you do have 10 teammates who are on the field when you're on the field. Then you've got all your other teammates who play defense who are on the field when you're not. Then you've got your specialists, got all these different personalities. Mm-hmm. And people get into the argument as to whether or not quarterback wins should count, whether it should be a stat. And I don't think it's nearly as important as passing statistics, but I'm a firm believer that a great leader is going to get more out of his teammates than a guy who isn't. And a guy like Tom Brady shows up in Tampa Bay, gets all those guys, like you said, on the same page. That means something. And the people who get caught up in numbers and this idea that, well, there's all these other moving parts. If you've got that personality, if you've got that leadership ability, you are going to lift everyone. And that does count for something. And I think that that's influencing your position, greatest athlete of all time, because it's not just what he does, it's what he gets everyone around him to do.
Exactly. And, I think a lot of people, when they look at leadership, it's somebody who's just, constantly yelling or cussing. But, I think one of the traits that, I think I embody that, I've also been able to expound on and, learn is just poise. You look at Tom Brady, just watching him this past Super Bowl, every time the camera was panned to him, he was just on the sideline looking down. He wasn't rattled. It doesn't matter if, good things were happening or bad things were happening, he's just constantly always poised. And so you see that when he's able to get onto the field, it doesn't matter the down and distance, that translates over to his confidence. And, that's, I feel like that's a huge reason why he's been able to have success, and he continues to have success.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And who knows when it's going to stop. You're so early in your career, and the last thing you're going to be thinking about is how long you're going to play in the NFL. But when we see a guy like Tom Brady, who's going to be 44 this year, it really does suggest to me that this new age of quarterbacks, these young guys now, it used to be 35 to 40. That was the window when it was done. It feels like it's now 40 to 45. And we're going to see a lot of guys playing into their 40s as the years go by.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I don't know when I'm going to stop playing in the NFL, but I would definitely probably say that my body is going to have to be broken down to a certain level where I can't even play in the NFL. I love the game, and I love everything from preparation to getting making sure my teammates are ready, and that's part of the preparation. And just being able to every year you have to reinvent yourself. No matter if you're in college or if you're in the NFL, each and every year, Tom Brady and even all the greats have to reinvent themselves. Guys are always trying to find ways to stop them, and so them just being able to evolve and continue to get better. And that's just certain things that I felt like I had to study. And another reason why I feel like I've made the jumps that I made, going into my senior year, just being able to learn from, elite level guys like that.
When was the moment that the switch flipped for you internally and you recognized, you know what, I'm good enough at this sport to make it to the NFL?
I think at a young age, and I think just I understood the talent level that I had, and but I think each year in college it presented something new to me, and I was able to learn, from different experiences. And I talk a lot about, in my opinion, I took a step back, from my sophomore to my junior year, my junior season, and there was only, a lot of people would kind of debate that, maybe my junior season was better, but it was certain expectations that I had, and from my sophomore year that I expected to be my junior year. And so, but I always tell a lot of people sometimes you have to go back, a little bit just to go forward. And there were certain learning experiences, that if I didn't experience those certain things my junior year, that I may not be where I am today, mentally and physically. So. There was a lot of self-analyzation and self-awareness that went into it. Throughout quarantine, I would say, then leading up to fall camp. And I think a lot of people, whenever I got back to campus, saw I was a lot different. And one, the way I talked, but just my mental approach, and where I was trying to go at an elite level. And I don't think it's any surprise that one, I was able to have my best season, but I was able to lead in an all SEC schedule to a team 9-1, and then end up going into having a tremendous Senior Bowl, and then having a tremendous pro day.
Give me the one moment from your time at Texas A&M that you're the most proud of.
Why can I have two?
Sure.
I think one was the Orange Bowl this past year, my last college game. And I think it was just more of a weight off my shoulders, and just kind of understanding what I've been through my whole entire college career, and just, battling so much adversity, and just being able to overcome everything, and just also understanding, what I meant to my teammates, so many teammates walking up to me, and, even, guys who were able to see me from my junior year to my senior year, just like kind of looking at me like they tell me, I don't know how you did it. And so just kind of understanding the type of respect that I had from my team, and just knowing what type of weight was off my shoulders, knowing at that time, I was going to the NFL, and just, understanding where I was, at my freshman year, and, where this program was at Texas A&M my freshman year, to, getting them to, number 4 in the country, and, a potential spot to be able to play in the playoffs, and, anything can happen in the playoffs. So that was definitely one of them. And then I think, the other one was the Florida game this past year. And I think just from a confidence level from, myself, my team, my past 3 years, I've been just constantly battling, trying to overcome, certain things, how to learn how to win in big games, from playing the top teams, my freshman year, my sophomore year, junior year, and, just never, coming so close in certain games, and even just getting blown out in certain games. But and also just being able to play, another guy who was, another quarterback in this draft who was a elite talent, and then another elite offense on the other side of the ball, and just, didn't matter what obstacle presented itself, I was going to go out and win. And so just, I think that was kind of a catapult from, myself, my confidence level, my truly tested my poise. And, even though, just to show kind of we were down in that third and fourth quarter, and just to come back and win like that. And so I would definitely say, that kind of propelled us to, what type of season that we're gonna have. So the way that we finished, it was definitely no surprise to any of us on the team.
Last question for you, and I appreciate so much your time, but this is the most important question of the interview. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready to go double or nothing, or are you going to rest at 1-0 at rock, paper, scissors?
Let's do double or nothing.
All right, here we go. Ready? Ready? Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Where is it? What you got?
I got paper. One.
Aha, we're 1-1.
1-1.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Unless you want to, do we have to have a rubber match here, or are we good?
Yeah, we can't end 1-on-1.
All right, one more time. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah, the rock crushes the scissors, and Kellen Mond wins the series. I wish you all the best. You're a great guy. We're proud of what you've done at Texas A&M, and we can't wait to see what you do in the National Football League, and I hope we will be talking to you many times in the coming years, Kellen. Thanks so much for spending your time today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me.
All right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.